in 1919, there was a professor at the University of Berlin. He was a professor of sociology, and his name was Hirschfeld. And Magnus Hirschfeld became fascinated with the subject of homosexuality, which was just a word that was coined only about 20 years before he got his interest. And there was a scandal in Germany that involved Kaiser Wilhelm's son, who was a homosexual, and some of the leaders in the government. And he became fascinated with the subject. And what Magnus Hirschfeld did is he toured the world. He toured, in those days, European countries all had colonies, different places, Africa and Southeast Asia. And he traveled to these different places, and he came back to Berlin in 1920, and he wrote this paper that got a lot of interest in Germany. And he said that what he found was, there was a lot of discussion about how homosexuality occurred in people. The Industrial Revolution in Germany was occurring at that time. They said, well, the men were away working and the women were raising the kids, and that's why people became gay. And there was this homosexuality was this spreading illness through Germany. But what Hirschfeld came back and said was that in his travels, he recorded instances of same-sex attraction, same-gender relationships in almost every culture that he visited. He found homosexuality in Pago Pago and in French Guiana and in West Africa. He said these are places where people have never read the book of Leviticus, and there's certainly no industrialization going on. So they didn't have the term genetics yet. But what Hirschfeld said in this paper was that there must be something naturally occurring in people to cause this phenomenon to happen. And therefore, in Germany and in most places, homosexuality was against the law, just like it was in the state of Indiana until 1975. But Hirschfeld said that this should not be punished. It should be studied and looked at, but people shouldn't be put in jail because they're homosexual, gay or lesbian, women or men. So in Germany, for a very brief time, from about 1921 until the Nazis came to power in 1933, there was sort of a spring. They relaxed all of those anti-gay laws, and the word went out around Europe, come to Berlin. And Berlin opened 7 or 8 gay bars. The writers and musicians and artists from all over Europe came. If you ever see the movie Cabaret with Liza Minnelli, you get just a glimpse of what life was like in Berlin in between the wars. And this was the reference that he made in the film, is because when the Nazis came to power, one of the first things they did was to clamp down on this homosexual Eden that had come to happen in Berlin. And he raided Hirschfeld. There's some pictures that appeared in Life magazine in 1934 of burning books, and what they were burning was Magnus Hirschfeld's library. And they seized all of his address books, because what he did, he was trying to an early Kinsey, if you know who Alfred Kinsey was. Magnus Hirschfeld started this research. He was interviewing homosexual men and women that had come to Berlin, and he had all of their addresses. And that's what the Gestapo used to go out into the German countryside and find these people and arrest them. The first people that were sent to concentration camps weren't Jews, they were homosexuals. They were sent to concentration camps for about 2 months. There were 10 or 15,000 arrested within 8 weeks.